Multinational corporations aren't just companies anymore. They are players on the world stage, sometimes as powerful as governments. Today, we'll follow one company, GlobalVolt Energy, as it tries to expand into a new country. Along the way, we'll meet the people who help decide its fate: a corporate executive, a government official, and an NGO representative. Is this expansion a win for everyone? Or is it just a win for a profit? Let's find out.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is ARYA, the Chief Strategy Officer of GlobalVolt Energy. As you know, the world is moving fast towards electric vehicles, and that means one thing: we need batteries, and batteries needs nickel. That's why we are proposing a new processing facility right here. Let me explain our plan using a simple tool we call the Business Model Canvas, or BMC. Our value proposition is clean energy materials for the global EV markets. Our key partners are local mining cooperatives and the national government. Our key activities includes extraction, refining, and exports of logistics. Our customer segments are battery manufacturers in Europe, the US, and East Asia. But more than that, let's talk about our value chains, from raw nickel ore to processing until the refinery of battery-grade material to the final product of the electric car itself. Every link in that chain creates jobs and values. We are not just digging holes in the ground. We are connecting this country to the global economy system. This is exactly what scholars like Heimer and Dunning describes decades ago. Companies like us expand abroad because we hold proprietary technology, management, expertise, and brand power that local firms don't have. We call this the OLI framework, or ownership, location, and internalization advantages. We bring the technology that this country brings the location and the resource. Together, that's a win-win.
Thank you for the presentation. On behalf of the Ministry of Investment, we welcome foreign direct investment. Although welcome does not mean blank approval, because we must look closely at the authority level between the Home Office and the host country. GlobalVolt's headquarters is in Europe, but the operations, the environmental impact, and the local labor force are here. And that creates a real question about who actually has the power to set the rules: the home country, where decisions are made, or the host country, where most of the consequences happen. This is a core problem that our literature review points out. Multinational corporations like GlobalVolt often have financial power that rivals our own national budget. As Budiana 2024 found, MNCs influence policies not only through formal negotiation, but through lobbying and strategic partnerships. We have seen this before, investment promises used as leverage to soften environmental regulation. So, conclusion, our position is, so we're saying yes to investment, yes to jobs, but only if GlobalVolt agrees to environmental impact assessments, local content requirements, and transparent label standards. Because investment must serve our national development, not just shareholder returns in another continent.
I appreciate the ministry caution, but I want to bring the voices that are often left out of this conversation: the local communities who will live next to this facility. Mr. Arya, you talk about value chains and partnership, but who are the real stakeholders here? Not just shareholders in Europe. According to Freeman's stakeholders theory, a firm's responsibility extends to everyone affected by its operation: workers, indigenous communities, local farmers, and the environment itself. And here's my concern. Our research showed that corporate social responsibility can become a tool, not just a genuine commitment. In 2024, Budiana calls this soft power. Companies build a school here, a clinic there. Good things, yeah. But sometimes this becomes strategic investment to win public trust and reduce resistance to projects that might otherwise face strong opposition. We're not against this project. We're against a project that arrives without real consultation. fourth Gillen and Thines 2024 study on the OECD Guidelines shows something important. When human rights chapters were added to the OECD framework, complaints citing human rights jumped from around 33% to over 70%. That tells us something. Communities will speak up when they are given the tools to do so. We are asking for that mechanism here before, not after the facility is built.
Okay, so let's just pause and unpack what we just heard using two more tools from international business strategy. The first one is the PUTRA 5 forces. GlobalVolt faces competitive rivalry from other battery material producers, bargaining power from suppliers, meaning that local mining cooperatives, and bargaining power from buyers like the big EV manufacturers who can simply choose another supplier if costs are rising. There's also a threat of new entrants since more countries are opening their mining sectors, and the threat of substitute materials as battery chemistry keeps evolving. That's why the GlobalVolt needs the host country's cooperation. They can't just expand anywhere. And the second one is the Porter's diamond model, sometimes shown as the diamond or pixel theory of national competitive advantage. It asks, does this host country have the right factor conditions like skilled labor and infrastructure? The right demand conditions, is there a local EV market too? Supporting and related industries like local logistics and energy supply, and from strategy, structure, and rivalry, is the local business environment competitive and well regulated? If these pieces align, the expansion can generally strengthen the host country's competitiveness, not just extract its resources, but if the government and community voices are ignored, the diamond becomes unbalanced, and so does the partnership.
I hear both of you, but let me be honest. GlobalVolt wants this deal to work long term, not just for one quarter's profit. We are willing to commit to an independent environmental audit and a local hiring of quota at least 70%.
That's a good start. We will also require quarterly transparency reports submitted to both the ministry and an independent local oversight committee, so it won't just be internal corporate reporting.
And we ask that affected communities are a formal seat in the oversight committee, not just as observers but with the real voting power. This is what the policy-centric governance model in our research called for: hard regulation, soft commitments, and local participation working together instead of one actor dominating the rest.
This is exactly the balance our literature review argues for. MNCs like GlobalVolt are not inherently good or bad. Their global power, challenge responsibility can become an engine for development, but that requires a real accountability, closing the enforcement gaps and giving local voices an actual seat at the table, not just a CSR pamphlet.
So, was the expansion a win for everyone? I mean, it certainly can be, but only if we shift our perspective from seeing these companies solely as engines of profit to viewing them as essential partners in global development. The case of GlobalVolt Energy illustrates the fundamental tension we've explored throughout this project. The intersections of corporate ambition and the necessity of human accountability. Multinational corporations today sit at a critical crossroads. They possess the capital and technology to transform economies, yet they also carry the responsibility to uphold environmental integrity and labor rights within the host countries they enter. As we've analyzed, this is no longer just about business, it is about governance, human security, and the evolving relationship between non-state actors and the communities they affect. The companies that will truly succeed in this complex global landscape are not those that focus exclusively on the bottom line, but those that embrace the triple bottom line: people, planet, and profit as a foundational strategy. It's true, lasting success requires a transparent dialogue where government regulations, corporate innovations, and also civil society advocacy all play an equal role. Our takeaway is simple but also powerful. Global power must be balanced by local participation. When their stakeholders sit at the same table, we move beyond mere extractions and toward a model of development that is sustainable, equitable, and just for all.